We're making spaghetti and meatballs. They're packed with protein, they're easy, don't take too long at all, and they're absolutely delicious. Let's get straight into it. Now there's not much knife work to this one. We are going to need one small brown or yellow onion. Take off the tip, leave the root intact, slice it in half, peel it, then make thin slices across, do the horizontal slice, and then dice into small to medium sized pieces. Make sure to trim off any excess flesh from around the root, and you can save all of the scraps for a stock. Next is 7 cloves of garlic. Run these along a microplane to create a paste. You can also chop them if you'd like to. 4 of these are going to be used for our sauce and 3 are going to be used for our meatballs. So make sure you separate them and place them into separate bowls. Last but not least is 2 grams or 0.1 ounces of fresh oregano or oregano for you guys in America and Canada. Just roughly chop this, make sure there's no large leaves or stems. If you don't want to use fresh or go out and buy a whole punnet just for this small amount, dried is completely fine, and I'll leave details about that in the description. For the meatballs, add 800 grams of beef mince or ground beef. This is 90% lean. To this now, add in 1 teaspoon of onion powder, the 3 cloves of minced garlic, all of that chopped up oregano or dried oregano if you chose to use that, 15 grams of pecorino romano or Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, 20 grams of panko breadcrumbs, and then just going to crack in 1 whole egg, a little bit of extra protein, season to taste with salt, and of course cracked black pepper. 20 cracks worth. Then we can get in there with clean hands and just start mixing this all around. Make sure all of those ingredients are combined, and what you should have is one nice big meatball just like this. Then I recommend weighing this total amount, and then we'll divide this by however many meatballs we want to make. This right here weighs 928 grams. Now, if my maths is correct, we're going to be needing 37 gram balls. This is over 5 containers, and there's 5 meatballs per serve. I do recommend placing a little bit of plastic wrap over your scales. Go through and consistently weigh these all out, roll them into small balls, and then just go through and do that with all of them. It's the easiest method to weigh something out like this. It's gonna stay consistent. Of course, you can do it freehand. Don't have to weigh them if you don't want to, but you might end up with an inconsistent amount. And if you're really trying to track your calories, it's going to be the best way to do so. And then with that done, you'll end up with all of these nice balls. What we can do now is place a pot of water onto our stovetop and just whack this over a high heat and just place a lid on. It's going to speed up the process.
Now in the meantime, place a large high-rimmed pan over a medium-high heat. Add in 1 tablespoon of olive oil or vegetable oil, and then we're going to add in the meatballs. Spread these out so they're not sitting on top of one another. And if you don't have a large pan, you will have to do this in batches. That way we won't overcrowd and end up steaming our meatballs. With these, we're going to sear them for about 5 to 6 minutes until golden all over and no longer pink in the center. It's okay if they're about that medium to medium rare point because we will be resting these and adding them back to the sauce later. And once you have that done, remove them, turn the pan down to medium and place them onto a tray. With the pan empty and any rendered fat left in that pan, add in the onions along with a little pinch of salt. Then we're going to start sauteing these over a medium to medium high heat for about 5 to 6 minutes until transparent. The moisture in the onions is going to extract and help deglaze our pan, ripping up any of that meatball flavor and adding additional flavor to our onions. Once that's done, add in the garlic along with a pinch of chili flakes. That's completely optional, you don't have to use it. Then just mix this around and cook this for 1 minute, breaking up that garlic as it will clump, especially if you've grated it on a microplane. This is going to become extremely fragrant. Next to go in is 2 cans or 800 grams of crushed or diced tomatoes. Rinse out of a little bit of water as well so we don't have any waste. Then add in 2 teaspoons of dried Italian herbs and season to taste with salt and cracked black pepper. 20 cracks worth. Mix all of this around, make sure all of those flavors have become friends, and we're going to bring this up to a simmer. Once it is at a simmer, turn the heat down to low and let this cook for about 12 minutes or until reduced. Right about now, our pasta water will be boiling. Take off the lid, be careful of any escaping steam, and then season with salt. Do not make it ocean water, it's completely unnecessary. Then add in 500 grams or 1.1 pounds of spaghetti. Mix this around, make sure nothing's clumped up, and we're going to cook this for 1 minute less than the packet instructions. After about 10 to 12 minutes on that sauce, it's nice and thick, it's reduced down. We can add in about half a cup of basil leaves. You can add more or don't even add them if you don't want to. Mix them around and just allow them to wilt. It's only going to take about 30 seconds. Drain off and save a little bit of the pasta water, then add that cooked pasta into the sauce. Start mixing it all together, allow everything to become coated, and you can adjust the consistency with any reserved pasta water if you'd like to. Add in the meatballs and any resting juices. 90% lean meat doesn't tend to have too many resting juices, but that's okay. Mix everything together again really well, allowing those meatballs to be covered in the sauce. Remove this from the stovetop and then we can start portioning out. I'm using 750 milliliter containers from Lovelli. I have a link for them in the description. I recommend placing the pasta down first, 5 of the meatballs over the top, and then just top this off with any remaining sauce left in the pan. Add a little bit of Pecorino Romano or Parmigiano Reggiano, cracked black pepper, as well as basil leaves, which are completely optional. And what we've just created is these spaghetti and meatballs. They're packed with protein, they're easy to make, and they taste delicious. I did the macro card slightly different this time just because all of the ingredients wouldn't fit onto the card with the macros. So here's the ingredients, and then right here is the complete dish macros for the serving size as well, and a single portion.
Now once these have cooled down for about 20 minutes, place on the lids. They'll last 4 days in the fridge and 4 months in the freezer. If frozen, allow them to thaw overnight in the fridge and then reheat them. Just place them in the microwave, it's the easiest thing. You can also do it in a pan. Either way, do add a little splash of water or stock just to rehydrate everything. With everything said and done, there's only one thing left to do, and that is, of course, we can then dig in. Those meatballs are packed with flavor, they're juicy, and that cheese and oregano really does bring out that extra flavor. The sauce is super simple, but also delicious. Got that little hint of chili, which is of course optional. And then the fresh herbs at the end, and that cheese just really brings it all together. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, leave a comment for the algorithm, and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help me out. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.